What sort of virgin has sex in a barn with a stable boy? Hey guys and girls, Bored Now back with you. Happy October once again. Today I'm going to be looking at a recent Shudder movie, came out earlier this year. It is called The Ugly Stepsister, so full spoilers from the start of this review. And boy, this is a fun movie. It's a really wild movie. It's a movie I didn't know much about going in, and I think that's probably a good way to go into it. It took some unexpected turns, and it became a lot more funnier, but also twisted than I expected, really. Like, it's a very dark sort of comedy. It's a period piece. It's putting like quite a playful little twist on the classic fairy tale of the Ugly Duckling. You have this character of Elvira, who is the ugly stepsister of the title, and her family, desperate to come into money, move into the premises of Elvira's stepsister Agnes. One of the gags of the movie, one of the best gags, is that they think Agnes and her family are rich, and it turns out that Agnes and her family think the same about Elvira's family, because there's this whole back and forth, and it's after Agnes's father has died. Agnes is turning her nose up at Elvira, and kind of she points out that they only welcomed them in because of the money, and that's like the gag, because it's then revealed to Elvira that shit, Agnes and her family have no money, and she comes running screaming to her mama that they don't have any money. The overreaction to that, and the ironic little twist of that scene. Agnes is the popular one who seems to have everything handed to her on a silver platter, and Elvira wants that lifestyle. She wants to be accepted into high society, and she goes to very extreme and very unusual measures to be accepted and to attract the attention of the prince. Making fun at high society and some of like the pitfalls of it, because when you get to the ball scene, and it's at the point where Elvira, we've done the reversal of she has been the one who has been made to look all prim and proper and beautiful and the whole works, and things have gone the other way for Agnes, who in the process has become a more likeable character as a result. But there's this whole thing where the guy who announces Elvira is saying things like her favourite pastime is long walks, her favourite food is vegetables, and I love the line from her mother. A few months ago, her favourite food was cake. Humour is very sharp, and that's the thing. I went into this movie just expecting it to be a horror movie, maybe quite an arty horror movie, and I was just really surprised by how tongue-in-cheek and full on the comedy was. And it just seemed to grab me from very early on, where it had a certain flavour to it. The scene with Agnes's father dying, and it's the sort of scene where it manages to be like both sort of grotesque and uncomfortable, but really funny. Like, it was just this thing of he's at the dinner table and he basically croaks and the blood splatters into Agnes and then he dies, and then you cut to credits. Like, it's a really sharp cut, and that sort of makes it a bit more funny. And I think at that point, because Agnes is set up as really snooty and the villain of the movie, then that's another reason it ends up being quite funny. Agnes is like mourning over her father, and there's this whole running theme where, because they're trying to make some money as a family and they're trying to get ready for the ball and everything, like, everyone is ignoring Agnes's father. Like, she says at one point, he's rotting in there and we're not spending any money on and then you get this scene where she goes in and he's literally rotting, and then you kind of cut to this more fancy stylized ballet type scene, because there's this long thing where Elvira and everyone else, or the other virgins, are all ballet style for the dance, so they can perform the moves and dance with eloquence at the ball. And there's a lot of fun with those scenes, like poking fun at high society. But I just love the dramatic cut between those two scenes, and it's something the film does a lot. But that scene that it cuts to is very kind of stylish, and it feels almost like a music video montage. They use this synth music score, and it almost gives it like this new romantic type feel. You wouldn't expect a synth score in this sort of movie to work, but somehow it just does. It just gives it a new energy and makes it a little bit more fun. And so it is a very stylish movie at times. The lead actress is very good, and they just make grotesque and weird scenes just really entertaining and funny. And there's so many funny bits of dialogue as well. And again, I think a lot of it is in the delivery, but there's this really funny delivery from Agnes at one point where, because we get to the point as Elvira is becoming more popular and Agnes is going the other way, where Agnes actually starts like being her servant in the poem to Elvira. And Elvira, it's about a serpent. Elvira's like, what do you think the serpent symbolizes? And Agnes very dryly says, his penis. That delivery broke me. That was so good. Like, she just says it so matter-of-factly, and when you get down to it, it's like, yeah, probably true. So Agnes actually does become quite a likable character in the end. They completely flip it around. And where you start getting the horror stuff and the stuff where the movie really gets weird is then the extreme lengths that Elvira goes to be accepted and to transform herself. She puts a tapeworm in her, or a tapeworm egg, and the plan is then that's her way to lose weight. At first I just thought, okay, this is just a gag and they're not really going to bring it back up. But I mean, they literally bring it up later, but they do go places with it. Like, it does slowly become a body horror through this tapeworm egg inside her, and you see at various times it's swirling around. Later on in the movie, like after or during the ball scene where she runs out really upset because the prince has gone off with another woman, like she regurgitates it comes out of her. And that's a really dark scene, actually, just because of the mother's reaction. Like, then it becomes this full-on body horror quite late in the movie. Then, because I think it might have run out of steam a bit if it was just like this playful, like, dark comedy, which was entertaining, but probably the gags might have dried up after a while. I think it just having this whole other darker side than it really commits to, and giving it a little bit more of a horror vibe as well, I think just works really well. And as I said, the lead actress does a really good job. Her mother's a really good villain, because I think she does become the villain of the movie. And yeah, like I said, it's just quite an odd movie, but somehow it really works and is really entertaining. Vera is in the forest and she sees the prince, and you've got him with a couple of the other guys. That's what you think is going to happen, because I think in another movie he would turn out to be like the nice dashing prince, and because she's into him, he would turn out to be nicer than you would realistically expect. But he's not. But they set you up to think that, because like when the others are like goading him and teasing him because they see Elvira, and they're making jokes about, hey, do you want to fuck Princey or something like that, he just takes a pause and says, no, I don't want to fuck that. And it's horrible, obviously. It's very cringe, but it's obviously meant to be. But I did like then you're set up to think, okay, this is going to be one thing. And there are like cringe, unsettling scenes like that, because there's another scene where this rich suitor comes over, and it's actually a credit to Agnes because she stands up to him because he tries to kiss her and force himself on her, and she gets him off and stands up to him, and it's a good moment for her. Whereas Elvira just stands there in a way, and he's kind of being very sleazy, treating her as like a plaything. And that is a scene that's like really uncomfortable with no comedic element, how it really goes places, and just how surprising and different it turned out to be. You've got a lot of style with the ball at the end or near the end of the movie, a lot of antics. And yeah, it becomes very uncomfortable by the end because you've got this whole obsession from Elvira where she wants to cut off her toes because she wants to fit in these perfect ballet shoes so she can dance with the prince. And then you got this really dark joke where, according to the mother, she cuts off the wrong set of toes, and the thing is then the mother cuts off the other set. It's dream sequence where Elvira is imagining herself with the prince, and you just know that isn't reality. So I think watching it, that makes it more uncomfortable. Now, near the end of the film, there's this thing where Elvira is lying on the floor in pain, and Agnes walks past her, and she then goes outside, takes her place almost, like she's the one who gets accepted and chosen by the prince, and he's waiting at the bottom of the steps. Now, I think that's in Elvira's head, because I think that's just her imagining the worst. That would be her worst nightmare almost, because she's been competing with Agnes throughout the movie. I think that's in her head. Let me know what you guys think if you've seen the movie. I just think it is. That's the way I read it. But the end of the movie is quite something as well, because you've got Alma, Elvira's sister, who we see pop up here and there during the movie. And she's the one who really comes through for her at the end, because she literally drags her down the stairs. Well, first of all, she finds the antidote, helps her with the antidote to the tapeworm. So that's a big deal. Kill off the tapeworm, which is really grotesque and satisfying. And then she literally has to drag Elvira down the stairs because she's got no toes at this point, so can't walk. And they're having a little bit of a laugh as well as they do it. I wasn't quite sure why. That's something I wasn't clear on, but they're having a laugh. They see the funny side to it anyway, and she drags her outside and puts her on the horse, and they leave together, and they're saying, okay, we have to get to the border and leave. And that's sort of it. It's quite a nice little ending for the sisters, in the film's own way. Like, as dark as the film becomes, that is sort of maybe a little nice moment that we have. Ride off, and then you just get this one funny little shot of like a crow or something eating away at the tapeworm, just to kind of. And there is one thing after the credits as well, because I did watch the whole credits, and I wasn't quite sure what that was meant to be, because you just cut to a scene with someone who was basically dead and their skeleton, and it had rotted, and I mean, it looked like a girl. I wasn't sure if it was meant to be Agnes's dad, and it was just coming back to that. Then he'd been there so long that he rotted. But it did look more like a girl, so I wasn't quite sure what that was, who that was meant to be, whether it's just sometime later than it's maybe the mother for whatever reason, or maybe then it's just, I don't know, someone else. I can't see why it would be Agnes, but I didn't know what that was. I'll have to do some internet research. Again, you guys can let me know in the comments. Fun movie, unexpected. I didn't expect to have so much fun with it, and I didn't expect it to be this funny. And another thing, I'll say this, and this would be a hot take, but I don't care, because I find the movie I'm about to mention overrated, and that is The Favourite. I think this is better than The Favourite, and I think this is the sort of humour which The Favourite was going for. And I guess I'm just saying that because they're both period pieces, and they both doing that thing of subverting things in a period piece where it's not just your typical, they're both kind of poking fun at like high society is what I'm saying, and trying to turn it into farce. This does it better, basically. I'm not saying they're similar movies, they're very different movies. My thoughts on The Ugly Stepsister, which is on Shudder, so quite nice and easy for you guys to watch. And I'm glad I caught up with it because I had a really fun time. I'll go 7.5. I can definitely see myself buying this and rewatching it. I probably wouldn't rewatch it all the time just because of how cringe and gross it is at certain points, but I can definitely see myself rewatching this and, you know, recommending it to other people. So, yeah, Ugly Stepsister. If you've seen it, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. You can share me out on social media. You can support me on patreon.com/borednow. Or you can become a channel member and you can make a donation at PayPal or make a one-off donation on the Super Chat button. Or you can hype up the video, because that's a new feature which YouTube have recently added, and it's meant to benefit smaller creators. So if you want a nice, easy, free way to support the channel, then you can hit the hype button, and the idea is that it will get it out to more viewers. So that would be great. But thanks for listening. There will be another horror review tomorrow. And let me know what you guys have been watching in October and what you think of this movie. But thanks, guys. See you soon. Goodbye.
I'm going crazy. I've lost my mind. Best friend insanity. I've lost my mind. I'm going crazy. I've lost my mind. Crazy.